The medical bay was silent, except for the hum of revival monitors. Dr. Joshua Reed watched vitals climb, heart rate, neural activity, core temperature.
She's coming out of cryo faster than anyone I've ever revived.
Inside the pod, Captain Sarah Mitchell. Frozen since 2384. 1,017 years. Her eyes opened, sharp with the discipline of a soldier.
Did we win?
What did you say?
Dr. Reed had trained for post-cryo confusion, trauma, even psychosis. He had no protocol for a commanding officer who asked about a war that had been over for more than 9 centuries. The TSV Endurance wasn't a civilian colony ship. It carried 12,000 active duty personnel, an intact 24th century combat force. And that one question would send shockwaves through a republic that thought the age of wars was long behind them. A frozen human crew was found in 3401. Their first question started a crisis. 2 weeks earlier. Deep space. Jacob Patel ran a routine survey when his console flagged an anomalous signal.
Pre-FTL encryption. A military-class beacon. Nobody's used that frequency in 1,000 years.
The signal originated from the TSV Endurance, a generation ship lost with all hands in 2384. Or so the records claimed.
Lucky find to all hands. Change course. We're investigating that beacon.
They approached a ghost ship over 3 kilometers long, bristling with impact craters, its cryo chamber windows glowing blue with life.
12,000 life signs. They're still alive.
But the ship's armor belt and weapon hardpoints told a different story than any colony vessel.
This isn't a transport. This is a combat vessel.
And inside, a military chain of command remained intact, suspended in frozen silence.
Prep the boarding team. We're going inside.
The boarding airlock cycled with a shudder. Inside, emergency lights barely pushed back the dark.
Life support is minimal, but the cold held. Watch your step. There's ice on every surface.
At the cryodeck bulkhead, the door loomed 10 meters tall, sealed with a manual emergency lock untouched for centuries.
12,000 pods. Every single one still powered. How is this possible?
The command console still displayed a crew manifest. 12,000 names. Status, frozen, elapsed time, 1,017 years.
We have to revive at least one. We're standing in a tomb, Patel.
A tomb full of combat soldiers who've been waiting 1,000 years for orders. You want to give them a target?
They're human beings. If we don't revive them, we're leaving them to die for real.
Patel stared at the nearest pod. The nameplate read Mitchell, S., the commanding officer of the Endurance.
The captain wakes first. If she can't answer what happened to her own ship, nobody can.
The medical team transferred Mitchell's pod from the dark of the Endurance to the bright, sterile bay, its ancient cryo unit, still humming with power.
No one has revived a 24th century human in 200 years. The protocols are half guesswork.
Reed began the thaw. Frost on the viewport softened, tiny cracks spreading like spiderwebs.
Core temp rising. Enzyme levels nominal. She's not fighting the process, she's pushing it.
2 hours later, the medical bay door hissed open. Patel stepped inside, his flight jacket unzipped, his face drawn.
How long until we know?
We'll know when she opens her eyes.
The monitor trilled, neural pattern complete. Reed straightened, stepped to the pod, and placed his hand on the manual release. He triggered the release. The lid rose inside. Captain Mitchell's eyes opened, sharp as a blade.
No confusion, no fear, just a soldier waking up for duty.
Captain Mitchell swung her legs off the pod, brushed past Reed's outstretched hand, and stood with the balance of someone who'd merely closed her eyes for a moment.
Status report. Where is my ship, and what is our operational condition?
Captain, you were in cryo. We found the Endurance drifting. The war. It's been over for centuries.
Centuries? What is the exact year?
It's the year 3401. You've been frozen for more 1,017 years, ma'am.
The Outer Belt War. Did we win?
There was no victory. The war reached a stalemate 980 years ago. The factions dissolved.
Understood. Then wake my bridge crew. I need them now.
No tears for her dead century. No questions about Earth. Just immediate reassertion of command.
In that moment, both Reed and Patel understood they hadn't revived a lost soul. They had awakened a commander still on duty. Within hours, the revival pods opened one by one. Lieutenant Commander Rashid Nash sat up first, already reaching for a datapad.
Commander Nash, situation brief in 5 minutes. Bring the rest.
Aye, Captain. What's our status? Within the hour, the Endurance command staff had assembled in the salvage ship's briefing room. The chain of command reformed as if no time had passed.
We're 1,000 years out of time. Until we understand the political landscape, we maintain full readiness. No contact with outside factions without my authorization.
12,000 soldiers who just had their entire world burned away, and not one of them panicking. I've never been more afraid.
They're running drills, Jacob. Drills. On a civilian ship.
I know, and I can't decide if that's discipline or a threat.
By the second day, rumors spread among the Lucky Finds crew. Some muttered about a military takeover. Patel made the call. A priority message burned toward Earth, possible hostile intent, request immediate guidance. Earth demanded full disclosure. The Endurance command staff assembled for an 11-hour historical briefing.
Start with the current geopolitical structure. Who governs Earth and who holds the largest military capacity?
This isn't closure. She's feeding a tactical database.
For 11 hours, Mitchell asked no personal questions. No requests to hear about lost family lines. Only data.
If she decides to attack Earth, will I have time to send a warning?
What became of the Outer Belt colonies we were ordered to reinforce? Are they still contested?
Abandoned 3 centuries ago. The settlements collapsed without supply lines from Earth.
Mitchell made a notation. No reaction. Just another data point in a military assessment.
I need a face-to-face with the current head of state. How quickly can that be arranged?
The request landed like a missile. Earth had no protocol for a 24th century commander asking for an audience. Over 6 tense weeks, the remaining Endurance crew were revived. They organized themselves by rank without a single order from Patel's team. Earth dispatched a diplomatic team. They found a fully functional military base, discipline as tight as a drum. The news feeds erupted. Lost fleet returns. Invasion imminent. Headlines blared across every screen.
No interviews, no responses. My crew stays out of sight until I speak with the head of state.
Captain, they're restless. Some wonder if we're prisoners.
Tell them we are guests of a foreign power. We follow protocol until I have a decision.
In the UN Security Council, the debate split the room. Half voted for immediate disarmament. The other half urged caution. After weeks of deadlock, the Secretary General overruled the hardliners. The meeting was granted.
Understood. I'll be there.
We'll be ready, Captain. Mitchell's shuttle entered high orbit. Below, Earth turned. Cloud patterns spread over cities that hadn't existed in her time. For the first time since waking, something in her face shifted. Not grief, something older.
Home. That word doesn't fit anymore.
The shuttle descended into a city of spires and floating gardens. The UN headquarters had become a monument to interstellar diplomacy. Security was overwhelming. Armored vehicles flanked the landing pad. Mitchell walked through it all like a ghost through a future she hadn't shaped. They want to show a force, Captain, but they're the ones who look scared.
Noted. This is their moment, not ours.
In the private chamber, Secretary General Amara Okori rose. The expression on her face was unreadable.
Captain Mitchell, I've read the reports. Some of my advisors urged me not to meet you.
Mitchell met her gaze without flinching. The silence held for 3 long seconds before either spoke again.
Madam Secretary, I am not here to negotiate terms. I am here to request honorable discharge for my entire crew, effective immediately.
The silence was absolute. Okori's hand froze over her datapad.
Discharge? You command the most intact military force in the system, and you want to stand down?
The Outer Belt War is over, Secretary General. We were drafted for that war. It ended without us. We have no other fight.
Mitchell slid a physical document across the table. It listed every crew member, their draft war, and the date it ended. 2384.
We did not lose. We didn't win. We simply weren't there when it ended. Wars end. Soldiers come home. Some come later than others.
Okori stared at the list. Down the hall, her security detail waited for a signal that never came.
You know the political storm this will cause. Many will see it as a coup in reverse.
Let them see it as they wish. This is not a strategy. It's a request from 12,000 people who want to go home.
The Secretary General slowly reached for the document, her expression unreadable. The crisis had turned on a single sentence. The Security Council's approval came with a single condition: total and irreversible disarmament.
Inform the Council we will surrender every weapon, sidearms, ship cannons, point defense, all of it.
Captain, that's everything. If they choose to betray us, we'd have nothing.
We already have nothing, Commander. The war took it. Now we're just giving back what never belonged to us.
In a ceremony broadcast live across the system, Mitchell and the Secretary General signed the discharge. The Endurance's weapons went dark forever. The next morning, the hangar held 12,000 Endurance crew. No weapons, no ranks, just faces searching for a future.
They're looking to you, Captain. One last time. Make it count.
Last time. I hope I give them the right thing.
She climbed the platform, her uniform still carrying the weight of command, and then she faced them. The silence was absolute.
Thank you. 2 words can't carry a millennium, but they're all I have.
She's really letting go. No backup plan, no hidden order. Just trust.
You served a war that ended without a final battle. There is no victory to offer you, only the chance to set down that weight. Effective immediately, the Endurance crew is relieved of all duties. You are civilians.
She unpinned her captain's insignia, the silver wings she'd worn since her commission. The metal clicked against the lectern as she set it down.
I am no longer your commanding officer. I am just someone who came home late, like all of you.
God, she actually did it. No regrets, and I've never been prouder to have followed anyone.
12,000 hands rose to remove their own insignias. The sound was like a soft, steady rain.
It's done, Sarah. I never imagined it would feel like this.
A civilian. I'll have to learn what that means.
A year after the discharge, Sarah Mitchell found herself in the city's historical archive, volunteering to catalog the Outer Belt War records. The silence there was a different kind of battle.
Sorting fragments of my own life. At least I am not dodging missiles this time.
You are the one from the Endurance, Captain Mitchell.
Just Mitchell. Rank's gone.
I am Anna Lindstrom, a historian. I've been trying to understand what the war cost real people. Official accounts are sterile.
She wants understanding, not a headline. I can work with that.
If you are willing, tell me about daily life aboard. The small things no report ever captured.
The questions stretched over weeks. Anna's office became a refuge where Mitchell could be a person again, not a relic.
We walked through the floating gardens tonight. She just listened. I've been needing that for 1,000 years.
For the first time since thawing, Sarah Mitchell was anchored to this century, not by duty but by a single patient historian. 3 years blurred into 4. Their collaboration became a partnership deeper than profession, something unnamed but felt.
I don't want to sleep alone tonight. Stay.
She's not asking for comfort. She's asking for me.
That night, in the quiet of Anna's library, Mitchell let herself imagine a future, not as a captain, but as a companion.
Marry me, Anna. I've waited 1,000 years for you.
They married under a flowering tree at twilight. A handful of witnesses, no uniform, no rank, just 2 names on a certificate.
I carried 12,000 lives for a millennium. Today, I only needed to carry a ring.
You carried more than that. Now put it down. I am here.
I never believed I'd have this, a quiet room and a heartbeat next to mine.
The woman who had commanded a generation ship was now simply Anna's wife. The war had finally let her go. Over 41 years, Mitchell was the quiet authority on latecomers when a new generation ship was found. She was the first they called. She never wore her uniform. When reporters asked why, she said the uniform belonged to a dead war.
41 ships. I've seen my crew find new lives. I'll outlast their ghosts.
Anna documented each revival. Their historical record became the foundation for the latecomer integration program. Mitchell was offered a seat on the Integration Council. She declined.
I am not a politician. I am just someone who knows the way home.
She never asked for recognition. The latecomers knew they had an advocate who asked nothing in return. As her hair grayed, Mitchell's name became synonymous with patience, a quiet monument to those who arrived late.
I never expected to be a symbol. I just wanted to bring my people home.
In her twilight years, Sarah Mitchell was simply herself. Late, but never forgotten. Anna's decline came slowly. Mitchell read to her every morning in the hospital room, her voice steady even as Anna's hand grew thin.
You fought 1,000 years, Sarah. Don't fight this.
This is the only war I ever truly lost.
Anna died on a Tuesday morning, holding Mitchell's hand. The world outside kept turning, but Mitchell's world paused. The funeral was small. Mitchell stood at the graveside in civilian clothes, a single white rose in her hand.
She never asked me to come home. She just made me feel like I already had.
2 weeks later, she visited the stonemason. She had no tears left, just a precise request. She wrote the inscription herself on a scrap of paper. Captain Sarah Mitchell. Earth, late, welcomed home.
No dates, no ranks, just that.
She paid in full, then walked into the garden, a private citizen ready for whatever came next. In her final years, Mitchell wrote long letters to the surviving Endurance crew. She didn't speak of the war.
I want them to know I remember their names, that we were a family before we were soldiers.
She spent her afternoons in the garden Anna had planted, watching the flowers curl toward the sun.
Anna always said gardens were a kind of patience. Now I finally understand.
When the doctor asked about final arrangements, her answer was written on a scrap of paper. She requested a plain grave marker, no military rites, no medals, just a short inscription in fresh soil. On the first warm night of spring, Sarah Mitchell closed her eyes and didn't wake. The letters she'd sent arrived the next morning, each one a private thanks for a shared past. The world learned she was gone. Her funeral, as she wished, was small and without spectacle, and then they carried out her last order. A quiet burial, no ceremony, just the words she'd written. At dawn, a quiet ceremony. A plain gray stone was placed over freshly turned earth. It read, Captain Sarah Mitchell. Earth, late. Welcomed home. They built no monument, raised no statue. These words were enough. The captain, who woke asking, "Did we win?" had written her own answer, not in strategy, but in surrender. 12,000 former soldiers remembered her not as a commander, but as the one who brought them home. She had been a ghost from the past, a crisis, a threat, and she became a promise for a millennium. Time had made her an exile. In the end, she was simply late. No military anthem played. No uniforms stood at attention. The only sound was the wind through the garden Anna had planted, and the distant hum of a city that had finally learned her name, Captain Sarah Mitchell. Earth, late. Welcomed home. It was finished. 10 years after the funeral, a young girl walked with her parents through the quiet cemetery, past rows of stones. She stopped in front of Mitchell's grave and tapped the stone with a small, curious finger. She glanced up at her mother. Who was she? Her mother knelt. A captain who came home late. But she brought thousands with her. The girl traced the letters again. Late. Welcomed home. Her mother nodded. That's what matters. The welcome. The girl looked down at the small flower in her hand, a daisy she'd picked on the walk. She laid it carefully at the base of the stone next to other faded petals. Her father squeezed her shoulder. Ready to go, Star? But the girl paused, then touched the stone one last time. She didn't know the war, but she understood the welcome. The Endurance itself found rest in the Orbital Museum, guided gently into its final birth. A scale model stood under glass, next to holographic profiles of her crew. And there, in the center, was her portrait. Not in uniform, but as her crew remembered her, steady, unbreakable. Visitors paused before it. Some touched the holographic panel to hear her voice, her recorded voice from the discharge. We just came home. That's all. Behind the portrait, the real Endurance was visible through the observation window, silent and dark. She asked, "Did we win?" The answer was never about the war. It was about being welcomed home. Earth's greatest victory has always been its embrace of those who arrive late, and Sarah Mitchell was proof that no one arrives too late for that. Welcome home, Captain. In the deep black, the Endurance wandered on, its hull cold, its reactors silent, its name a whisper among old databases. But inside, the cryopod stood empty, their sleepers having risen to find a world that had finally grown patient enough to wait. On Earth, spring rain touched a gray stone in a garden planted by a woman who loved a historian. Water traced the letters as if the sky was reading aloud. Captain Sarah Mitchell. Earth, late, welcomed home. She was late, but she was home. And Earth, in all its ages, had never once closed its door to the ones who came later. The ones who simply needed a welcome. A shooting star carved a brief silver line above the cemetery, as if heaven itself was signing a receipt. The universe, indifferent and kind, kept its long watch over the latecomers, counting each homecoming a victory, and the garden bloomed around her, each spring a quiet answer. You are home. The rain stopped. Morning light touched the stone, and the engraved letters, still wet, seemed to lift toward the sun. A new day broke over the cemetery, over the city, over the continents that had spun 1,000 times since she last walked among them. From high orbit, the curve of Earth glowed. Blue oceans, green lands, the thin white veil of atmosphere. The sun breached the eastern limb, spilling gold across the air that would soon warm a garden, a grave, a memory, and somewhere below, sheltered by trees Anna had planted, a stone answered the dawn. With 5 simple words no rain could wash away. A shooting star carved a brief silver line above the cemetery, as if heaven itself was signing a receipt. For every ship that came late, for every frozen crew thawed from silence, the answer was never a tally of victories. It was always the same. Welcome home. Welcome home, Captain. The universe, in its patience, kept repeating the words that soothed the soil, the stars, and every late heart that finally heard them.